Excellent. Let's get started. Hey, thank you so much for having me. And Omar, I want to thank you and also Reine, your whole team that pulling this event together and with over 63 speakers. That's actually very, very impressive. And I was event manager for a long period of time. I know how much work that is. So thank you so much. And many of the panelists were talking about the future trends and also technology. And I have the topics talking about the sales tech, which is sales technology. And I know majority of the people are actually entrepreneurs, that you have your own company or you are about to start a company based on a lot of the trends that the panelists are sharing. So the things I want to talk about very much is very in short term, what can you do using the sales technology? And very quickly, just want to make sure everybody understand, obviously like any other technology landscape out there are many solutions related to sales tech. Actually, it's about 1,067 as of 2027 and measured by the Smart Selling Tools by Nancy Narden. It's about 1,000 sales solutions that's related to sales. And the 461 of them is really whopping CRM solution. And they are 45 unique categories that related to different sales engagement. So what does this slide tells you? Well, it tells you that you need a CRM solution, period, right? Every single company, if you have a company, you have a sales team, you must have a CRM solution. That's it. That's one thing that you have to do because that keep all your customer data, that keep all your salespeople's engagement with your prospects and the customers in one place, right? So number one rule, you need to have a CRM solution. Number two, very quickly, like all the tool that you are going to buy, you are going to source, it needs to be integrated with your CRM tool. There's no exception, absolutely none. I want to make that very clear. If it cannot be integrated, you need to hire developers to write a code to make sure that the data can be connected through API. The data needs to be connected. If you don't have the data connected, you cannot see how your data flow from one place to another. Does that make sense? So have a CRM tool, have your tool integrated with a CRM. With that, you literally can eliminate a lot of the tools out there, right? Because the sales tech has over 1,000 solutions, you don't know what to actually choose. Well, not integrated with your CRM solution, you can eliminate that. Okay. So that's the one key practice. The next question comes to, what can be integrated with CRM? Right? This is actually coming from a very popular blog. They basically said email, phone, social media, marketing automation, collaboration, e-commerce, accounting, everything needs to be integrated with CRM. Is that true? Is that true? Well,
Yes.
it's not like what internet is saying, and then you have to follow. You have to think about it. Well, do your salespeople actually use social media? If they don't, you probably don't need to integrate it with social media. Is that helpful? Well, if you don't have a marketing automation tool, maybe that's not something that you need to be integrated either. Okay. If you are just growing, your company is a startup, you are just growing, right? You need to think through that with your limited budget. How can you prioritize your tool and make sure that it's integrated with the sales team that you'll get the most bang for your buck, right? So not everything needs to be integrated. You need to think through in terms of what is the typical sales stages. And this is important, especially for startup and enterprise. Each company, your sales team, have a certain kind of sales process they follow to engage. They contact the prospect, they qualify the prospect, you do a demo, and you write a proposal, you close the deal, right? So with that, take a look of your sales journey and then document it. This is what I created for my client. All right. When you document it like this, you kind of know what they do from one place to another until they close. Then you can look at this workflow and then sit back and say, okay, what can I do to automate? What can I do to determine what tools need to use to incorporate the technology part of a sales as a part of the sales engagement. Is that helpful? So this is something that needs to be done. And once you do that, and let's think on this part right here, for example, like you have a prospect coming from your computer, from your website, and you need to follow up with them. You know, in the past, the follow-up tend to be a manual process. You send out an email, you follow with phone call. But what if can we use tool to actually automate that? Right? Well, let's check. This is one example I want to share with everybody.
What I want to show you is one of my favorite conversations that our AI sales assistant, Rachel Brooks, had with a prospect. I think it really showcases the power and intelligence of our technology. Here, Rachel follows up with Connie after stopping by our booth at Dreamforce in 2016. Rachel is smart enough to know where that lead came from and refers to it in her introduction, then asks if she would like more information. Rachel's sole purpose in life is to vet out the interest level of a prospect and set up a meeting with a sales rep. Rachel sends a follow-up email. You will notice that the email has changed. Each email that Rachel sends out will dynamically change from the subject, the body, and the question she asks. Marketers are going to love the fact that they don't have to create thousands of templates.
So that's the one examples I want to share with you. Once you create the workflow, and then you evaluate your workflow, then you determine what other things you can combine to use the technology to actually help you. All right. So now I'm talking about sales tech process, that how you can use to actually drive, accelerate the sales conversion. Another thing that's very important on sales tech, okay, is a content management library. To actually help salespeople, it's very, very important. You have some sort of digital content library to store all the information they will need. And if you are just a startup, you don't have money to do that, that's totally okay. But something you should keep in mind, this is something that needs to be in the long run, needs to be done in the long run. Once you actually have that content management library, you can tag each content, right? By the product name, by the target audience, by the languages, by the authorship. And by doing that, it allows salespeople to find the content as soon as possible. In any kind of sales tag, the value proposition is always about save salespeople resources and save salespeople time. So having the tool that you have a content management tool will help them tremendously in terms of the saving the salespeople time to find the content they need. All right, so very quickly in this 5 minutes, and I share with you a couple of things that the sales technology, I'm not talking about future technology, I'm talking about the things that you can do to make your sales team better. Number one, CRM is a must. Number two, sales tech, anything that you are thinking about needs to be integrated into your CRM tool. Build a workflow based on your sales engagement, and then determine what other process, look at your workflow, that you can do to automate it. And lastly, you do need a content management library to manage the content in the long run. Any kind of technology that all the panelists sharing is a lot of work. It is. There's no shortcut. Supporting sales is also a lot of work. So think about it in terms of the sales engagement and sales stages, and determine what other technology that you will need. So it's time to get started. Back to you, Omar.
Thank you so much, Pam.